Well, I look terrible. Um, Start the video off on a comedic note. So, John Cena. John Cena! Um, so recently, doing promos and stuff for Fast and Furious 9, John Cena said the first country that it's gonna open in is Taiwan. And then he immediately made an apology to people in China. He said he apologized for calling Taiwan a country, and he had respect for Chinese people. So, first off, I want to give the devil his dues. I want to just say, acknowledge all the good that John Cena has done. I've seen him in countless videos doing Make-A-Wish appearances, and from all accounts, he has seemed to be a stellar guy. Now, I'm not a wrestling guy, but, he's a public figure, so I know who he is. Now, it would be my hope that he's just speaking out of ignorance, but it feels like pandering. So for those of you who don't know the deal with China and Taiwan, so in 1949, Taiwan split from China in a civil war, and Taiwan was going to be reclaimed by China, but then the Korean War broke out, and China put all its resources into that. And then the Cultural Revolution happened in the 1960s, and they also had to put taking Taiwan on hold. And so there's always been this tension between Taiwan that acts as an independent country, and China, which views it as a rogue province. So the funny thing is, both were under sort of authoritarian dictatorships, but Taiwan, they had a free economy and eventually became a democracy. And it used to be Taiwan that was on the UN Security Council, but then they got voted out of that, and China took its place. So officially, Taiwan is known as the Republic of China. And China, mainland China, is called the People's Republic of China. So, yeah. Now here's the thing. In the 70s, when China was starting to open up, it seemed like, okay, they're calming down. Whereas Taiwan, although the US still had relations with them, they were still a dictatorship, and although they did have a free economy. So in some ways, that might have led to the US switching diplomatic recognition from Taiwan to mainland China. And in the 80s, there was this revolution where Taiwan began to embrace democracy. And in the early 90s, they had their first, free and genuine and sincere elections. People got to choose who their leaders were. And there was always a greater degree of autonomy and freedom that just isn't in, mainland China. Now, it is a little disturbing to see that I feel a couple years ago, a person of John Cena's stature, they would have tried to have made a more ambiguous or conciliatory remark to both sides. But it feels like he's just sort of throwing Taiwan under the bus. And Taiwan seems to stand for a lot of things that, you know, China just doesn't. It stands for freedom of speech, it stands for the rights of the individual. All these things which just Beijing does. Beijing would much rather we forget about that. And I really hope that, you know, John Cena goes and does his research and offers an apology to the people of Taiwan. Because in the onset of, you know, the recent events of 2020, they were so helpful in providing information regarding the disease which has, you know, afflicted so many and influenced the course of the world. They were instrumental in helping us combat it, and they should be owed that respect. So I can't speak on John Cena's behalf, but, you know, I'm sorry to the people of Taiwan. I'm sorry that somebody so influential from my country threw y'all under the bus. For what it's worth, I apologize.